Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. Inside one of the small towers among the Dan Tower complex, Emperor Ming and two of his subordinates were inspecting the Dan pills. Countless Dan pills floated densely in mid-air. Heart-cleansing pills, 935 of superior quality, 72 of supreme quality. One of the subordinates observed the Dan pills and stated his assessment. For Dan Tower's alchemists, creating medium-grade pills was considered a major failure, let alone producing waste pills. Accurate. The other subordinate confirmed after inspecting. Emperor Ming glanced at the pills, nodded in satisfaction, and carefully divided them into two separate groups for storage. Currently, he served as the Deputy Hall Master of Dan Tower's Heart Clearing Hall, responsible for the easiest task, identifying and collecting pills, specifically heart-cleansing pills. Heart-cleansing pills were the most commonly sold foundational pills in Dan Tower, accounting for about 30% of its total sales. As for collecting materials and alchemy itself, those required more specialized individuals. These pills have already been checked once by the alchemists, then inspected and stored by me here. Before selling, a final inspection will be conducted as well. Nothing could possibly go wrong, thought Emperor Ming, feeling at ease. Dan Tower's most intricate and crucial part lay in alchemy, but his abilities weren't suitable for meddling in that. By following Brother Luo Feng, I can still serve as the Deputy Hall Master of Heart Clearing Hall in Dan Tower, earning 200 primordial crystals per epoch. Living so leisurely for 10,000 epochs means accumulating 2 million primordial crystals. Emperor Ming was quite pleased with his work. With this income, along with free residence in Luo Feng's cave mansion, he could still manage to amass a fortune. Deputy Hall Master, the production of heart-cleansing pills has steadily increased over the last epoch, remarked one of the subordinates. I've heard the insect nest people aren't pleased. Do you think the insect nest will make a move? The other subordinate seemed concerned. Although they were just ordinary members, they were quite informed and aware of the ongoing conflict between Insect Nest and Dan Tower. In the past, Dan Tower had conceded, but now it was rapidly expanding its production. Given the insect nest's domineering style, how could it remain tolerant? Naturally, these ordinary members were a bit uneasy. Why panic? The Dan Tower owner and Luo Feng Divine Emperor themselves are stationed here. You have nothing to fear, Emperor Ming reprimanded. Deputy Hall Master, you're from Source World and aren't scared, but we are. We've even temporarily cancelled our external accommodations and moved entirely into Dan Tower. The two subordinates spoke with visible worry. In the Dan Tower complex, personnel like Luo Feng, or the key alchemists, were provided with private cave mansions suitable for retreats and cultivation. But for those at the very bottom, there weren't any dedicated places for training in seclusion. Living permanently inside the Dan Tower meant their cultivation routines were far from ideal. You've even cancelled your rentals. Emperor Ming was startled. We don't dare to leave Dan Tower at all. If the insect nest can't deal with the tower owner or Luo Feng Divine Emperor, they might vent their anger on us instead. The two subordinates spoke with great caution, as they didn't possess any spiritual avatars. Emperor Ming nodded in acknowledgement. Through Luo Feng, Emperor Ming had learned that the insect nestmaster's spiritual avatar had already clashed once with Luo Feng. It was anticipated that the insect nestmaster might attempt revenge again. You must indeed be careful, Emperor Ming advised. In confrontations at the level of the insect nestmaster and Luo Feng, he knew he couldn't provide any meaningful assistance. The members of Dan Tower were somewhat uneasy, but couldn't give up such a lucrative job. They could only exercise caution. Luo Feng and Changqing building owner were also fully prepared. Since they had initiated normal competition, preparation for conflict with the insect nestmaster was inevitable. Her spiritual avatar suffered a setback. Given her temperament, she'll definitely retaliate, Changqing building owner spoke resolutely. If her true body intervenes, I'll have to rely on formations for defense, Luo Feng replied with awareness, but as long as I focus solely on defense, I am confident in holding my ground. Defense alone will suffice, Changqing building owner laughed. After all, this is Yulon City. Within the city, there are laws forbidding mutual slaughter. Therefore, she can't act recklessly here. Outside the city, she could unleash her aggression. But inside, there were numerous restrictions. Given her vindictive nature, I estimate she'll strike within a few epochs, Changqing building owner predicted. I'll keep one of my avatars stationed here long-term, just waiting for her arrival, Luo Feng smiled. Time passed. Epoch after epoch went by. In the blink of an eye, 10 epochs had elapsed, and the insect nestmaster had not made a move. Both the vigilant Luo Feng and Changqing building owner were baffled. The insect nestmaster took a loss and then held back. Changqing building owner couldn't believe it. That's entirely out of character for her. In all of Yulon City, who didn't know that the insect nestmaster was tyrannical? As one of the 3 leaders of theft and plunder forces, the insect nestmaster stood side by side with the master of deceit workshop and the shadow tower owner, all notorious figures. However, the master of deceit workshop and shadow tower owner usually acted cautiously and calculatedly. The insect nestmaster, on the other hand, operated with a domineering approach, submitting to her meant flourishing, defying her meant annihilation. Could it be that after her spiritual avatar clashed with Luo Feng, she determined it wasn't worth the risk? Changqing building owner speculated. I used secret techniques to wound her, but I estimate it was nothing more than a minor injury, Luo Feng replied with perplexity. Such a minor injury shouldn't matter much at all. During that clash within the illusory insect nest, his Lai Yuan technique had sliced a wound. Yet compared to the entirety of the illusory insect nest, that wound was far from substantial. Perhaps issues in the dark sacred realm are delaying her revenge, Changqing building owner suggested. Luo Feng nodded. Years flowed by. Luo Feng and the Dan Tower owner continued to wait patiently, prepared at all times to fend off an attack from the insect nestmaster. Unconsciously, over 200 epochs had elapsed. Within the vast interior of the insect nest, finally stabilizing the contamination. Even the insect nestmaster's face bore signs of exhaustion. The sudden loss of billions of souls had left her reeling. These imprisoned souls, tortured across endless ages yet remaining intact, were integral to her power. Losing such a great number had truly pained her. After consuming another batch of cultivators from my homeland, I have finally stabilized my spiritual power and suppressed the contamination completely, the insect nestmaster reflected. In her homeland, the source world, everything served as nourishment for her. Countless cultivators' lives were hers to consume at any time. Though her soul capacity was vast, it was nonetheless limited. While the contamination is now under control, any direct clash between my true body and Luo Feng wielding his will secret technique might cause another major setback. After spending such a long time stabilizing herself, the insect nestmaster was in no mood to suffer another hit from the Lai Yuan technique. I need a sufficiently powerful secret treasure that can resist mental attacks. The insect nestmaster muttered, feeling troubled. While she did possess a mighty secret treasure, it was situated within the dark sacred realm. Given the dangers of the dark sacred realm, where challenges arose constantly, and where even half-primordial level entities were common, she prioritized using her treasures there. The dark sacred realm remains my top priority. As for Yulon City, I'll find a way to purchase a suitable treasure. Without adequate protection for my spiritual will, I won't confront Luo Feng again. The insect nestmaster contemplated. Unfortunately, the extensive losses I've suffered mean I can only muster 30 billion primordial crystals at the moment. Items like the Undying Heart, which offer sufficient protection for spiritual consciousness while matching one's own essence, were exceedingly rare. Purchasing such treasures for 30 billion primordial crystals would be considered just a fair market price. These treasures were extremely difficult to acquire. If a powerhouse wanted to sell such an item, it was often purchased by their close allies at exorbitant rates immediately. Without a treasure, I'll have to bear this grievance, thought the insect nestmaster, feeling irked. Normal elders, whose spiritual will reached its peak bottleneck, would only sustain minor injuries from Luo Feng's Lai Yuan technique and recover quickly. Ironically, it was the insect nestmaster who felt more vulnerable to Luo Feng's Lai Yuan technique. 300 epochs had passed since Luo Feng's clash with the insect nestmaster's spiritual avatar. During this time, Luo Feng experienced nothing but calm days in Yulon City. Land of origin, inside the Star Tower. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, his brow marked by the eye of life and death, focusing on the 195th sample of early divine emperor-level primordial bloodline. Each strand of primordial bloodline unveiled a hint of the mystery that lay outside the cage. Luo Feng could sense countless intricate secret patterns merging in perfect unity, forming an innate masterpiece. Yet he knew that his own path was far from achieving such perfection. Nonetheless, Luo Feng could also sense his growth. The more he delved into these bloodlines, the more he uncovered patterns. His understanding of the integration of life and destruction had reached profound depths, allowing his conception to achieve 90% similarity with the primordial bloodlines. Simple integration is too ordinary. True fusion of life and destruction transforms everything. Luo Feng's mind spontaneously surged with inspiration, pushing him toward attempting true fusion. Suddenly, a fully fused path surfaced in his heart. The life and death Tao has broken through. Luo Feng exclaimed in pleasant surprise, so quickly. Previously, when he advanced the life and death Tao from the ultimate realm of godly king to the early stage of divine emperor, Luo Feng had done so through deliberate contemplation and study. This time, his advancement came naturally, stemming from profound insights gained through the exploration of primordial bloodlines. When the accumulated knowledge reached critical depth, the life and death Tao transitioned naturally into the middle stage of divine emperor. I truly owe thanks to Yuan Xiong Palace Master. With his gift of 50 billion primordial crystals, I've been able to afford such abundant resources for my cultivation and understanding. Luo Feng felt thoroughly satisfied. Over the past 300 epochs, he had frequently used various auxiliary elixirs sourced from Dan Tower. These aids greatly accelerated his comprehension of primordial bloodlines. I haven't even finished studying the complete set of early divine emperor-level bloodlines yet. Higher-level mid-stage, late-stage, and even perfected bloodlines await. Luo Feng brimmed with confidence. Now, his life and death Tao had ascended to the middle stage of divine emperor. When he fully analyzed the remaining bloodlines, where might his life and death Tao lead? Boom tilde tilde tilde. As Luo Feng conjured a thought, an endless blood sea materialized around him. The middle stage of divine emperor's life and death Tao represented an evolution in quality compared to the previous stage. The middle stage of divine emperor's life and death Tao should rival ordinary paths at the half-primordial level. Attempting to perceive its magnitude, Luo Feng gauged the immense leap encompassed in his advancement. Sir, the novel, f.ia.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. This vast improvement in his Tao far surpassed the strength offered by artifacts like the Undying Heart, or the Palm World. Ha ha, this is a day worth celebrating, enthused Luo Feng, his heart stirring with excitement. Ah, I've yet to deliver the gifts I prepared for my masters. After returning to the land of origin, his focus had been entirely consumed by the study of primordial bloodlines. Only now did he feel free. Let's pay a visit to each of my masters. Carrying his gifts, Luo Feng set off initially toward the Chu capital to visit his master, Emperor Chu. In a secluded courtyard within Chu capital, Emperor Chu leisurely flipped through a tome. His current status in the land of origin was lofty and unassailable, carefree and unbothered. No one dared provoke him. Even certain duties that emperors were obligated to fulfill had been exempted by the primogenitor on his behalf. Emperor Chu now focused his entire mind on comprehending the great Tao of the ultimate realm. Emperor Chu looked up in surprise. A man dressed in black with black hair appeared above the courtyard before descending down. Luo Feng. Emperor Chu rose with a smile. How do you have the time to visit me? He was well aware that his disciples' focus was primarily outside the source world. The Chu nation's ancestors, Emperor Qing, and the others were the same. They rarely made appearances in the land of origin. Master, Luo Feng greeted with a smile. I visited the 9 Rivers sacred realm, and managed to gather some resources. I've prepared cultivation treasures for you, Master. You still think of me? Emperor Chu grinned widely, evidently pleased. Luo Feng waved his hand, and next to him appeared an array of cultivation treasures. Each item was meticulously placed with care. The faint energy naturally emanating from the numerous rare artifacts of the 9 Rivers sacred realm rendered Emperor Chu slightly dizzy. Yet amidst the dizziness, his thoughts quickened and inspiration began to surface. These are the auxiliary treasures I collected in the 9 Rivers sacred realm. Based on Master's life form level, I believe these are the most suitable treasures, 92 types in total. Master can try each one to see which suits you best, Luo Feng explained. I will now send the methods of usage for these auxiliary treasures to Master. Emperor Chu received the communication. Even as the Emperor of Flame Wind ancient country, Emperor Chu had only heard of 3 of the 92 rare treasures before, as he had found them too expensive to acquire. Master cultivates the path of destruction. While in the 9 Rivers sacred realm, I sought out various inheritances related to it, Luo Feng said. Anything below the Divine Emperor level was cheap. I bought over 100 of them. Master can use them as references. Oh? Emperor Chu listened attentively. And this one? Luo Feng flipped his hand, presenting a book. These are my personal reflections on the path of destruction. Master should read it more often. Currently, what Master needed most was to comprehend the ultimate realm of the path of destruction. The path of destruction, written by Luo Feng, did not exceed the scope of the ultimate realm of the godly king. However, after witnessing countless fusions of life and destruction transcending the braided cage, Luo Feng's understanding of destruction had grown ever deeper. Looking back, writing a book on the path of destruction was naturally extraordinary. Luo Feng also intended to give Morosa a version spanning up to the early stage of the Divine Emperor level. Though Morosa relied mostly on consuming resources to achieve the ultimate realm, his chances to break through to the Divine Emperor were minuscule. Yet, occasional support might someday lead to a miracle. How much primordial crystal did you spend on all these treasures? Emperor Chu asked, as he gazed upon the myriad treasures carefully arranged before him. Not much, Luo Feng replied vaguely. It was merely about 1,000,000 primordial crystals. Given his current standing, it was indeed a trivial amount. Emperor Chu looked at the book Luo Feng had personally written. Of the 92 auxiliary treasures you've given me, I had only heard of 3 before. It's clear these must be incredibly costly. Emperor Chu sighed. And this tome you personally wrote, it must have taken a long time to complete, didn't it? Luo Feng. Emperor Chu gazed at Luo Feng. You've only been outside the source world for 1,000+ epochs. There's no need to trouble yourself with looking after your master. You should focus entirely on your own cultivation. Though I've never ventured beyond the source world myself, I've long understood that the outside is fraught with danger and survival is incredibly difficult. In the world beyond the source world, survival depends on one's own grit. Competing against the experts of countless realms. I, as your master, live peacefully in the land of origin, but you face extreme dangers out there. Emperor Chu and the other emperors were all well aware of the terror awaiting outside the source world. Your cultivation is far more important. Wait until you've truly established yourself, before you think of looking after me again. Emperor Chu glanced at the generous gifts, reluctant to accept them. These treasures, go exchange them back for primordial crystals. That won't be necessary. Luo Feng waved it off. Rest assured, Master, I ventured into the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, which is comparatively less perilous, far safer than the Dark Sacred Realm. In the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, I'm already among the top tier. There are but a few stronger than me. Don't deceive your master. Emperor Chu shook his head. We emperors of the imperial clan are destined to venture beyond the source world. Regarding the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, I have some shallow knowledge, even as recorded by the primogenitor. The primogenitor himself admitted that he wouldn't dare claim to be among the top tier there. There are plenty stronger than him. Luo Feng pondered. In Yulon City alone, there were dozens stronger than the 2 nations' ancestors. Across the 35 cities of the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, there must be thousands stronger. Indeed, there are many in the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm stronger than the 2 nations' ancestors, Luo Feng acknowledged before meeting his master's gaze. But compared to me, there truly aren't many. Emperor Chu scrutinized Luo Feng. Are you saying you're stronger than the 2 nations' ancestors? Yes, considerably stronger, Luo Feng replied without hesitation. Stronger by a level. Emperor Chu was stunned. A full level. I've recently broken through. Luo Feng smiled faintly. Master is the first to know aside from myself. Emperor Chu's heart churned in monumental waves. How long had the 2 nations' ancestors spent cultivating? They had endured countless reincarnation eras of the land of origin. Even ventured into the Dark Sacred Realm. His own disciple, Luo Feng, had spent how much time in the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm? A mere 1,000+ epochs, and yet he had surpassed the 2 nations' ancestors by a full level. It was horrifying. Master, can you accept these gifts now? Luo Feng asked. I'll take them, Emperor Chu replied, finally snapping out of his shock. He reminded, the more dazzling your talents, the more you must remain steady. Don't worry, Master, Luo Feng said. Sit down quickly. Search the ovalfire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Emperor Chu waved his hand to collect the treasures and said, Tell me more about the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm. My understanding of it largely comes from the imperial clan's records. Even Emperor Qing refuses to share much detail with me. All right. I'll give you a thorough rundown, Luo Feng agreed, smiling as he poured wine for his master and himself before sitting down to chat. They talked for a long time, before Luo Feng bid farewell. Remaining in the courtyard, Emperor Chu felt an emotional sigh escape him. Back when I took Luo Feng as my disciple, I thought to nurture him well, believing his exceptional talent might allow him to accompany me in ventures beyond the source world. He reflected, Who would have imagined that has already surpassed the two nations' ancestors by a full level? My disciple, Luo Feng. Emperor Chu didn't know what to say. His disciple's talent was utterly extraordinary, a meteoric rise. Even the trio of Emperor Yang, Emperor Shi, and Emperor Wu had suffered 2 deaths and 1 escape, because they slightly blocked his path. Emperor Shi and Emperor Wu were ultimately slain by the flame-wind primogenitor. The primogenitor truly has greater foresight than me. Emperor Chu felt mixed emotions. I wonder just how far my disciple will go. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng also paid a visit to Mountain Sitting Guest. Mountain Sitting Guest, whose strength was much inferior to Emperor Chu's, received gifts Luo Feng had prepared with care, though they amounted to only about 10,000 primordial crystals in total. His physical form couldn't endure excessively expensive treasures. Master, these are tomes I acquired in the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, most suited for your world lineage. There are also dozens of artifact refining scriptures among them. Luo Feng presented the tomes as gifts to his master. In the 9 Rivers Sacred Realm, scriptures below the Divine Emperor level were exceedingly cheap. In Yulon City alone, where millions of cultivators resided, most of whom stood at the level of ultimate realm life forms, many were content selling scriptures for 1 or 200 primordial crystals. Very good. Mountain Sitting Guest smiled approvingly at the gifts. Luo Feng's feelings for Mountain Sitting Guest far surpassed those for Emperor Chu. Without Mountain Sitting Guest, there would be no Earth-Human clan. The Star Tower, the 9-volume manual, the Lai Yuan technique, all were brought to him by his master, Mountain Sitting Guest. Luo Feng had always held deep gratitude. Luo Feng, you know your master's talent and comprehension. In terms of great Tao insight, I've yet to reach the 2nd realm of the Godly King. Mountain Sitting Guest chuckled. You don't have to expend excessive energy on me. Having achieved vengeance and now enjoying peaceful days, your master is already very content, Mountain Sitting Guest added. Luo Feng could sense the profound serenity and dispassion in his master. Understanding Mountain Sitting Guest's past, Luo Feng realized his greatest concerns, his most cherished loved ones, had perished long ago. Decades of life afterward had been driven solely by the pursuit of vengeance. With Luo Feng's assistance, vengeance had been fulfilled, and his master's desires ultimately quieted. Cultivation. His master had little ambition to pursue it further. Master, these inheritances can serve as entertainment if nothing else, Luo Feng said. Very well. I'll take my time exploring these gifts, Mountain Sitting Guest replied with a smile. Perhaps I might advance further and reach the 2nd realm of the Godly King. Luo Feng didn't linger long with Mountain Sitting Guest, as he sensed his master's enthusiasm for conversation had waned. Time, space. Mountain Sitting Guest sat quietly, summoning a mirror before him. Within its reflection stood a woman teaching a young boy. The primordial cosmos exerts lesser restrictions, allowing slight reversals in time and space to revive weaker beings. But the temporal weight of the land of origin is far too immense. Reversing time and resurrecting the dead is impossible here. Mountain Sitting Guest sighed. Senior sister. Mountain Sitting Guest gazed at the reflected woman. She was preserved in this mirror-like secret treasure, which carried imprints of his memories. The mirror contained a repository of countless recollections, his moments with his senior sister, with his fellow disciples and brothers, and with his friends. He often passed time gazing upon the mirror. How I long to return to the past, Mountain Sitting Guest closed his eyes. Even just for a fleeting moment, afterward, I'd gladly accept death. After delivering his gifts to each of his masters, Luo Feng could sense their joy, but only Mountain Sitting Guest appeared indifferent to material offerings despite his visible smile. Master's regrets. I still cannot resolve them. Luo Feng remained powerless. After presenting his gifts, Luo Feng resumed a peaceful life. In Yulon City, the insect nestmaster didn't trouble him, and the Dan Tower's business flourished day by day. Luo Feng currently had no plans for hunting expeditions. Instead, he was fully immersed in studying a series of primordial bloodlines. Each comparison of his inner completion against the perfect solution of the primordial bloodline brought him abundant insights. In tranquility like flowing water, another 1,000+ epochs passed unknowingly. This video will end here.